late game execution.
No, ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah.
This whole Mark Sanchez thing has been ever since released, or happened to him on Saturday. When we first heard about Mark Sanchez on Saturday, we heard that he was stabbed and in critical condition in a hospital in Indianapolis, right? Cool. And then, from my point of view, I should say, from my POV, I think it was probably like 5, 6, 7, 8 hours later, I found out he was getting arrested. I was like, wait a minute, I thought he got stabbed. Well, both happened. And I'm still confused about this whole situation. I heard he got into a scuffle with a 69-year-old, at first I think it was Uber Eats driver, from when I first heard it on Saturday. It's just been a mess of information. But I guess now Mark Sanchez is facing charges. But before all the clear details came out, I guess this came out. So, former coach Dan Dickich, whatever you pronounce his name, faces backlash for racist comments on Mark Sanchez stabbing. As we all know, Mark Sanchez, the former NFL quarterback turned Fox Sports announcer, was stabbed and later arrested in Indianapolis this weekend. The former USC Trojan quarterback was in Indianapolis this weekend to call the Colts versus Raiders game at Lucas Oil Stadium, a game which the Raiders got blitzkrieged in by the Colts. But Sanchez was hospitalized following a stabbing incident in order to later to get arrested when the police received more details. A former college basketball head coach has accused of a racist comment in reaction to Mark Sanchez stabbing in Indianapolis. Now, Mark Sanchez, a former USC Trojans and NFL quarterback, was charged with battery with injury, public intoxication, and unlawful entry of a vehicle. The Marion County Prosecutor Office announced Sunday morning Sanchez has been stabbed and taken to the hospital in Indianapolis. The incident should have never happened, Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears said in a statement Sunday. What began as a disagreement between a 30-year-old former professional athlete and a 69-year-old man should not have escalated into violence or left anyone seriously injured. Okay, great. Sanchez alleged to have accosted a truck driver. So now he's a truck driver. So that's news to me because I haven't been keeping up with this whole situation because it was confusing. And I didn't really care too much after a certain point. But I do care about this as I go on. A truck driver in a hotel loading dock zone. According to police, the incident elevated to the point where the truck driver thought he was in danger. The truck driver allegedly used pepper spray, and when Sanchez was charging towards him, thought this guy was trying to kill him. The truck driver then stabbed Sanchez multiple times. Thinking about it, in the 69-year-old's point of view, you got some random dude coming up to you to attack you. Yeah, I get it. Former college basketball head coach Dan Dickich, I think he used to be on, he used to have segments on, what's the name of that guy's show? I can't think of it. It got really popular during 2020. I can't even think of it right now. Jason Fatlock used to be on there. I used to listen to it a lot, but I got tired of it. Over the Deshaun Watson situation. I forgot the name of the show, but former head coach, college basketball head Dan Dickich, who was later announcer for ESPN, is taking heat for what many are calling a racist comment. Sanchez or anyone being stabbed downtown Indy should not be surprised. We have a ton of followers and armed African American kids descending on downtown Indy every weekend. If that offends you, F off. As the Chief Police Bailey and Rev Harrison would have told you this, he wrote on Twitter, or I should say X, formerly Twitter. Why was that the first thought that came out? Why was that the first thought that came out of his brain into his fingers, into either he typed it on his phone, on Twitter, or typed it on a computer laptop? Why was that the first thought? Before any details came out, that was your first thought. That was not my first thought when I first heard about Mark Sanchez being stabbed. First thing I was thinking, like, why did he get stabbed? How did he, well, not how did he get stabbed, but where was he when he got stabbed? What led up to this? My first thought wasn't, oh, it's a bunch of fatherless black kids who did this. Stabbing. Not pulling the blicky, but stabbing. A writer, NFL writer wrote this, Nate Atkins wrote, Indy isn't perfect and has some work to do. But one good move to clean up was getting these racists off the top radio station. Kids should be able to go to training camp without hearing a racist bark into a mic, and now they can. The leap from zero to racist broke an Olympic record. Well done, Jamel Hill. And I do not agree with anything Jamel Hill says on the usual, but this, I agree. Wow. Even Jason Whitlock himself criticized the statement by saying this: Dan, I like you and support your free speech. Take the L here, delete it, apologize, and move on. A fan said, also, this is racist, which isn't surprising since a racist shared it. The weak part, beyond being racist, of course, is whatever you call racist, like these racists, they get offended. Why all the pushback? The only thing worse than racist is a spineless racist. Matt Jones, Kentucky Sports Radio, said Dickich, or whatever you pronounce his name, went from being a jerk to being a full-blown racist, it seems. It's a shame because he was actually a good college basketball announcer. Dan Digovich is meanwhile standing by his comments. What a dumbass. This is a lesson right here. Shout out to Ruin Leon, because this is when I first heard that this even occurred on Twitter. So shout out to him and his channel. But this is a perfect example of jumping the gun before all the facts and details come out. Now, as a black person said this on Twitter or X, and I hate to bring this up as an example, but let's bring it up as an example. A school shooter happened. Let's blame it on these white folks, these white Christian males that don't agree with, I guess, modern politics or something like that. Let's blame it on them before the facts come out. Even though possibly it could have been a black person who did this. Even though there hasn't been many black school shooters. But I say most of the people who are school shooters are, I don't think they're tied to any political agenda or cultural agenda, what they feel. I just think anybody who shoots up people at a school, or unalives people at a school, I should say, they are no longer in their right mind. Don't care what political affiliation they are, left or right. But regardless, that's the same. It's just jumping to conclusions and trying to blame a race because of what possibly has happened in the past. Stupid. It's dumb. And now it's come out that Mark Sanchez was stabbed in self-defense because he was acting like well, he was drunk too, but just acting like a dumbass. And this dumbass decided to jump the gun. Dan Dickin' ass, dumbass, whatever you want to call him. Not to say that fatherless African American kids out here have not been a problem. They have been a problem. I blame that on a whole lot of things that we're not going to get into in this video. But this instance, this was not the result of that. So, but it's dumb. It's dumb. And this is why, because he most likely probably maybe voted for Trump, Dan Dick ass. He most likely did. But this is why, at least for me, I vote how I see it. Not to make this a voting or political issue, but this is why I don't subscribe to any political faction, Democrats or Republicans. Both of them are full of it. So I'll keep my moderate libertarian self in my own corner. I don't, just for you guys out there who think, because everybody wants to put me in, put a label on it. Oh, he voted for Trump, but he must be one of MAGAs. No, and I said this before, you will never see me wear a MAGA hat. Yeah, I would wear a MAGA hat to show Democrats, because I don't like them either. But, no, never. I don't worship one person. No human. No, it's never going to happen. So, I don't know where people are getting that from. But anyways, like I said, to end this video, not to make a long-winded, not to go on a rant about political leanings and all this other stuff. This is a perfect example of just waiting until all the facts are out. Now this idiot made himself look like a bigger idiot.